Welcome back to Tipping Point. I'm your host, Kara McKinney. There you have a male trans activist dressed in a feminine way, behaving totally ladylike, body slamming a crowd of mostly students taking part in the Virginia March for Life yesterday, which was attended by Governor Glenn Youngkin. I guess female attire doesn't confer femininity upon the wearer. Strange, it's almost as if men and women are different and distinct. Also, what happened to the pro-abortion mantra, no uterus, no voice? To use the liberal lingo of today, why does this non-uterus haver get to body slam the walking wombs of women against abortion over an issue which will never personally affect him? Again, this just shows that all the jargon they throw at us, they don't believe themselves. When it's convenient for the pro-abortion side to caricature us as a bunch of men wanting to control the bodies of women, then they'll cry about whether or not there's a uterus involved. But once that conflicts with their trans allies, then they shift their sloganeering to something else. Also, fun fact, bad men like rapists. And like rapists and abusers actually like abortion because it covers up for their crimes. And it's not like they want to have responsibilities to care for a child for 18 years either. Now anyway, thankfully video later shows the culprit in police custody being led away in handcuffs. I wonder if this guy will be charged with anything more than a low-level misdemeanor. And perhaps even that will be dropped in exchange for some small fine. It's not like Biden's DOJ Civil Rights Unit is going to track this guy down and charge him with felonies. No, they only reserve that for prayerful pro-lifers outside abortion clinics, in which lawyers have to parse every frame of video to see if they blocked any clinic entrance by even a millimeter, while this guy can just slam through a crowd of young people and not expect much in the way of punishment, especially not the 10+ years a lot of pro-lifers are facing for daring to sing hymns to God outside clinics, or the late-night federal raids at gunpoint that they also endure. And speaking of civil rights, if Biden's DOJ actually cared about any of that, then perhaps they should research a letter recently sent by the American Life League to the head of the NAACP about the racial disparities in abortions perpetrated against black babies, to the tune of more than 20 million black babies since the now defunct Roe was passed. Joining us now to discuss is Katie Brown, the Director of Communications for the American Life League. Katie, thanks for being here tonight.
Thanks for having me on, Kara.
Great. So Judy Brown, the president of the American Life League, she sent this letter to the NAACP, basically asking them, saying, it's Black History Month. How can you guys enshrine abortion as a fundamental right when it comes to, black rights in this nation? Are you asking the same question as Judy? It's the NAACP.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something that, and it's kind of like the video you showed in your intro, it's just make it make sense is kind of what we keep coming back to with this. So when you look at the CDC's latest data, 42% of abortions were committed by women in Black and minority communities. And when you look at that on a scale of comparing it to white women, it outnumbers it almost 4-to-1. So when the NAACP comes out and calls for reproductive justice and an increase in abortion access to African American women, it's one of those things that we're looking at, and we're looking at it like, make it make sense. They're already largely targeting, minority communities and African American women. So it's one of those things that just doesn't really make a lot of sense. And so we're trying to get the NAACP to really acknowledge that this doesn't make a lot of sense, but that maybe there are things that they can do to help women, want to have their children and to actually protect life instead of destroy it.
And do you think a lot of it just goes back to, and I know it's been hashed out many, many times, but do you think it's worth bringing up the fact that, especially when it comes to Planned Parenthood, that abortion really does have racist origins, very eugenic origins in this nation?
Absolutely. And the NAACP in particular is one of those organizations that has very tight ties with Planned Parenthood, which again, it just doesn't make a lot of sense, especially looking at Planned Parenthood's founder, founded Planned Parenthood on a history of racism, wanting to exterminate unwanted populations, as she said. And, it's not one of those organizations that has maybe racist roots in the beginning and then kind of weeded it out. It's still a racist organization to this day, with 79% of Planned Parenthoods being strategically placed in minority communities. And not just that, but, we do, at American Life League, we do a report every year looking at the racism within Planned Parenthood's own organization. And it persists to this day.